Question or an issue that will require a one-paragraph answer. I teach physics. Many students, perhaps most students, think that learning physics is a matter of learning formulas and learning how to put numbers into formulas. By responding to a well-crafted question with a written paragraph, they come to understand that physics is a matter of concepts, not just of formulas.
I teach art history. Some students think that means looking at pictures, sculptures, and architecture, and memorizing dates and the names of the artists who made them. But if you answer a focused question about a piece of art, you'll begin to understand it better and appreciate the culture from which it came.
I teach English. Some students think that literature is vague and subjective. When they write answers to questions about literary texts, they learn to make valid interpretations about human experience that is often vague and ambiguous.
I'm an attorney and teach in the business school. Some students believe that it is important to know the rules of business. They would find in the world of business that it is at least as important to be able to communicate ideas. By writing answers to specific business questions, they will develop that necessary ability as well as learn more deeply the principles that make businesses successful.
I teach history, but I don't teach students to memorize names and dates. I ask them to explain why. When you have to explain why, you have to write an effective paragraph.
We call this kind of writing paragraph writing, and you're going to be encountering it in your UTB courses. Your instructor, in class, in homework, or on exams, will give you a specific, narrowly focused writing prompt, that is, a question or an issue to which you are to respond in a single paragraph. The grading of that paragraph will be based not only on your display of knowledge of the material covered in the course, but also of the clarity and flow of logic in your display of that knowledge and of your understanding of that knowledge. For instance, in a university physics course, I might give a question about a tug of war. There are two teams that are pulling on a rope. One team may be winning. The question might have to do with the tension in that rope. Is the tension greater in the hands of the team that is winning or in the hands of the team that is losing? Is the tension constant along the rope? And if it is, how can one team be winning?
In a course on ancient art, I might ask you to compare an ancient Greek sculpture to an Egyptian one. Why is the Greek sculpture so much more lifelike? What happened that this change occurred?
In my course in world literature, a prompt might be, what is Homer telling us about the nature of heroism when he describes Hector breaking and running when he first sees his great enemy, Achilles?
In my course in business law, I may ask a student to explain how, on the one hand, a governing board of a corporation could be taking an action that would be considered legal, while at the same time being unethical.
I might ask you why the civil rights movement was a success. Rather than ask you to list names, places, dates, you might decide to argue that Martin Luther King explains the success of the movement. Or maybe the students who integrated the North Carolina lunch counters are the reason for the movement's success. Or maybe it's political, the Senate's passage of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Or you might even disagree with the way I've asked the question and argue that Malcolm X had it right. Separation, not integration. In a written paragraph, you can make those arguments.
You might feel that this is more work for you, and you're right, and it's more work for your instructor, but it's worth it. This approach is successful. A major complaint of employers is the inability of U.S. college grads to communicate. With the skills that you pick up at UTB, your employer will have to find something else to complain about.
And you will learn and understand the content of your courses better. Think about it.
That is indeed what will happen. You'll begin to think about it.